Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jerred Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm here with not Joe Courtney. Ashley Hicks is here today with Hanna Schrum. How's it going?
Good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so if Shrum is not sounding familiar to anyone, you're not very observant. So we have Kyle Shrums, one of the coaches here. We have his wife here today. So it's going to be really awesome. She's been just seen incredible progress and done amazing things and been following the programming for a while. So I'm excited to get into it. But Hanna, I'm going to throw it to you here at the beginning. Just basic introductory stuff, who you are, what you do, how you train, all that stuff.
Yeah. I'm married to Kyle. Hopefully that's a positive thing. He's worked for you all for a little while. I'm a fourth grade teacher. I've taught, I'm in my 7th year now. I usually love it, and I do. This year, obviously, just been so different with the pandemic. So we've been teaching mostly in school, but some virtually. So it's been an interesting transition. I guess I've been with GGA for a little over a year. Started with women's health track. Was awesome and is awesome. I have very little consistent actual workout experience. So before the women's health track, Kyle he would tell me, about the workouts, and I just thought you all were crazy, and you are, but in a really awesome way. But with women's health track, it was just a very positive experience, and so now I'm hooked, and it's been great.
That's awesome. And do you train primarily in the space that if you guys, this is audio for most everyone, but we can see the space that she has, and we're familiar with it because of Kyle, but do you do most of your training in the basement setup there? And what is the setup?
Yeah. All basement unless I'm running, and then I'll run outside. But yeah, we have a couple weight racks and kettlebells and dumbbells, multiple barbells. We have an Airdyne that I think he uses more, but I love running, so I prefer that for my cardio. We have a box, which Kyle, as you know, injured himself recently, so I've been able to get back on it. But yeah, we don't have a lot of machines, but we have all the basics. So
really cool. Everything you need.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the big reason behind starting the gym? The genesis. I've heard Kyle's answer to this, but I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, or maybe just on starting a gym at your house and everything else.
Yeah, well, he would work out at his friend's house when we lived in an apartment when we first got married. And I remember him, he found your program and he said how much it was a month. And I was like, that's fine, just stick with it. But I just didn't really know if he would, and he obviously has, and it's been awesome. And so I supported him in that. While I, didn't do anything myself, but I thought it was awesome that he did. And when we first moved into our house, the first equipment that he bought was kettlebells, and he was like so pumped. And I was like, that's great, and he would be so excited to show people like our gym. And it would be like a couple kettlebells, a couple dumbbells, maybe a barbell, but he was so pumped. And so now it's an actual gym, and we have friends who will come and use that. But that's just kind of how it started. He wanted his own gym, and I don't think he's ever been into the actual gyms that you go to. And I've done one very inconsistently. So now that it's at our house, it's just so much better.
Since you started, is there any other equipment that you're like, I must have this, Kyle, you need to get me this? Like, is there anything that you added to it?
I still want my own barbell.
Still don't have a female barbell?
I don't have one. And so that's like the one thing that I was like, hey, what about this? But I know I'm trying to think, looking back, he really wanted those bumper plates and we didn't have those. And I didn't know what the big deal was until we got them. And now they're awesome. And when I'm lifting weights, it looks like I'm lifting so much more than I am. And so I feel like, really cool with that. So
that's awesome. Well, Kyle, you need to get a barbell for sure for your wife.
I can't say anything because I haven't bought one for Emily either. So I'm just going to stay away. But I want to talk about this. You said you've been around for a year. I'd love to talk about your experience, maybe some of the results you've seen. Just because, we all know, we hear these things. Kyle, we get to talk to Kyle every single day and, all of these things. So tell me a little bit more about the transformation that you have experienced or some of the results that you've seen.
Yeah. So when I started, I guess I started last year, the end of September. And I was like, I'd had 2 kids at that point, and I was like just at my heaviest I'd ever been. And so like, I just got to the point where I was like, I don't even know like what to do. And this is actually like kind of a personal story. I don't even think Kyle and I have talked about it, but that summer we went to Six Flags with our youth group. And if you are a certain size, like you can't ride the rides. And so we got on one ride together and they had to come back to my seat and push it down further because it wouldn't fit. And it finally did, but he and I never talked about it. But that was the moment for me that I was like, okay, Hannah, something has to change, And so it was soon after that you all started talking about doing the women's health track. And I was like, I'll give it a try and we'll see. And it was awesome. And I was committed from day one. I loved the workouts. Ashley would give all the workout tips and then Emily would give all the nutrition tips. And it was so eye-opening learning about macros and your carbs and your protein and your fat. And I had always, if I ever counted calories, that's just what I counted. In high school, I actually struggled with an eating disorder. And so I ended up, I was pretty sick and I was eating very little. I ran cross country. And so with that combination, I had hair that would just come out in chunks. I passed out often. And so I just did not understand the importance just of health and what that looked like. And so I was able to really learn nutrition and training and how all of that goes together with women's health track. And so that was just a total game changer for me. And so then after the women's health track, I did Shred. And so I've just kind of gone back and forth back with Shred, and I love both. And so over this time, I've lost 96.8 pounds is my current total.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, it feels great. So, but not just that, I've gotten stronger. My one goal I'm still working on is a pull-up. So I don't have but yeah, it's been awesome.
That's incredible progress. And so what's next for you? What are you looking to do maybe over the next year?
One of the things I did cross country in high school and I ran a half marathon. And so I really want to just get back into running. And so that's kind of what I started doing on the weekends. That's been my workout then. And so I guess I'd like to do more races, more, of the 5Ks and 10Ks and getting back into that is kind of my goal. Not that I don't want to do another half marathon. I just remember how painful it was when I did it that first time. But I think that would be awesome to get back to that level. So
you're going to do a Spartan with the GGA crew?
Kyle talks about that all the time. Horror stories is not talking me into it.
It was a fluke. It'll never be that bad again.
To be fair, Hannah, I think the guys play it up a lot. Like I was fine the next day, so I think you'd be just fine.
That's probably true.
Women are too tough. All right. So you mentioned cross country. Was there anything that you were doing before Garage Gym Athlete training? Anything that you were, participating in or doing?
Well, I went to Planet Fitness like around the time that I was getting married, because everybody wants to lose that last weight before you get married. And so it's like $10 a month. And so it's like, hello, that's such a great deal. And so I would go and I would ride the elliptical for 30 minutes and then I would just leave. And then, but what's great about them is they have Tootsie Rolls that you can have.
Oh my goodness.
Like Bagel Tuesday and Pizza Monday. Anyways, now I know how ridiculous that is.
They do that at Planet Fitness?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And donuts on Friday, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, they definitely, they get you in. They had like tanning beds and massage chairs and anyway, so I did that for like a week. But honestly, like I haven't done anything consistent. Like we like to go on hikes and things like that. But I have basically zero like weightlifting experience. All that I've ever done is cardio. So when I started this, I had so many questions for Kyle and I was like, am I supposed to do all this barbell work? I just didn't know at all, but it's been awesome. Of course, there's many times that I come upstairs after my workout and I'm so annoyed with VD for whatever he had, planned for us to do, but they're always really good and challenging, but I had no experience. So, I'm like below beginner is how I would describe myself for this. So it's like, if I can do these workouts, anybody can do these workouts.
Mm.
So I want to hear a little bit more about that because we do get people oftentimes and they come in a little bit intimidated from our programming or whatever it is, for whatever reason. So what advice would you give them if maybe it was a female who has like no barbell experience? Like what are some tips to embrace the barbell, if you will?
I think definitely make sure you have a barbell that is a lightweight. We have just a 15-pound one. And so I'll use that one if I've never done a movement before. And so just practicing the movement with super, super lightweight. I YouTube a lot, like even if there's always a video included. And then if I want to get like a more step-by-step, I'll, look that up. But the community on Facebook is always awesome too. Usually if I have a question, it's already been asked in the Facebook group. So I just like to search for those things. And, but I think the best thing about having a gym at home is that nobody is watching you and judging. So that's been the best thing is when I'm just practicing movements, nobody's going to like look at me and be like, she has no idea what she's doing because I don't, but I'm learning and I'm trying. And so I think that's the best thing is just get a lightweight barbell and start practicing the movements and then just kind of build up from there.
That's awesome. Great advice. So how do you like being a basement athlete?
I like it. It's really nice. It's really convenient. I work out about 5 every morning. And so if I was to do that and have to go to a gym, I just don't think there's any way that I would do that. And so I can get up, quickly get dressed, and I'm downstairs, in just a few minutes. And so, yeah, it's nice. And the kids can come down here too.
So we're going to get into the more standard questions, hardest workout, other stuff, but I have a special question for you because you're Hanna Schrum. So there's a story. It's been around GGA community for a long time that Kyle misled you on on a PR event, made you, I think it's like run the wrong distance or something of that effect. I would love to hear that story from your side of it. Just what happened there? What did it cost you?
How did you feel?
How did you feel about it?
Well, when you have a husband who's a coach, you know that you can rely on him for advice and information, and he should know everything, that needs to be known. And so I guess it was the second, it had to be the fit week. That was my second one, because it was trying to get those PR shirts. And my second, I PR'd everything, on Fit Week 2. And so I had one more that I had to get the awesome red shirt. And so we go to the track because it's the run. And, you have to have a video to prove that you did it. And so Kyle's like, all right, you're going to run your mile and we're going to check your mile time. And so, of course, I PR'd my mile time and it was awesome. And we had a video. Now, here's the thing is, since we have 2 kids and it has to be videoed, it's like a big production. Like we all have to up, but, it's not like I can just go out and just run. So it was like this big thing. And so he even had his tripod, like we were all ready. And I PR'd, and so I was like, my gosh, like I'm going to get this, the red shirt. And like literally, I don't know, not even an hour after it happening and posting, he was like, okay, Hanna, so I messed up. He's like, it was supposed to be 1.5 miles. And I was just like, what do I do now? Anyways, I ended up PRing myself with no video because I still had to get, my own PR, but that was a big bummer. But to be fair, I could have looked at it myself. It obviously says 1.5 miles, but I still wanted to blame him and make him feel bad. But he did, he really did. And I know he still gets crap for it.
And then like 1 or 2 fit weeks later, we actually just changed it to 1 mile. So even rub dirt in the wound there.
But it's awesome. Good because the next fit week I got my red shirt.
Yeah, you have the red and the black and you are crushing it. So let's hear the hardest workout you've ever done.
I wrote it down because I was thinking about all the different Meet Yourself Saturdays. I think for me, out of the ones I've done, the 1/4 mile for humanity might be, it's not a least favorite, but I think it was the hardest that I've done. Kyle and I did it together, and it was, we don't usually work out together. And so this one, I think it was, I don't know, it was, I mean, they're all mental. That's the whole point. But it was tough to get there, and it was just in our front yard and it's kind of sloped. And so it was tough.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Now, in your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
In my notes, I said, this is not my strong suit. I don't, even though I've made a lot of progress and I've done a lot of good work, killing comfort is still not something that I'm like really good at. Like I'd rather go for a run than do a really tough workout. So I usually choose the easier of the two. So that's what I'm still working on, is the harder one. I think mental toughness, I guess for me, has really been waking up really early every morning or doing a workout when it's really cold outside.
Yeah, those are both challenging things. And I don't think anyone ever actually gets great at killing comfort. I think it always kind of sucks. And that's why it's killing comfort. It's always there. It's an active activity that has to be done, and you can't achieve it. It's not something that you're like, oh, I'm good at this now. It's always going to suck a little bit.
And I would argue, if someone who started what you said from no weightlifting to then losing all the weight you did and continuing to PR and continuing to get better, like that's continually killing comfort. Like, you know what I mean? So give yourself that credit for sure.
Now, if you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Okay. I've thought about this one a lot, and this might seem like a silly answer, but I'm going to stand by it. I think for me, the one piece of equipment that I need is a good workout outfit. So hear me out. I've been thinking about it. I think since a lot of training is mental, I think that you have to have the right mindset and the right attitude to really get a good workout in. And so for me, when I have the right clothes to wear, like I feel good about myself and I feel confident and I feel excited to go train. And even though it's just me in my clothes, because there's nobody else down here, it just helps me mentally get in the right mindset. And so whether that's new shoes or a new tank top or new leggings, anything that I feel good in. And so again, that's a weird answer, but that's just what helps me mentally and gets me excited and ready to work out for the day. So I don't know.
That's cool. What's your favorite go-to brand?
I don't have a go-to brand right now. I just love all leggings, especially.
She does not discriminate against the leggings.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Leggings.
That's great. All right. I'm going to see, Ashley, do you have any questions, anything you want to ask before I get to the last question?
Nope. Hanna, you're awesome and we love you. Thank you for doing this.
All right, Hanna, what is your best advice for all the garage gym athletes out there listening right now?
Oh, I think the best thing that I would say is pick a time and stick to it. I think that having your gym in your home or in your garage, I think it's incredibly convenient. I think it's the best option and I wouldn't do anything different. But I know that there are some drawbacks. Like if you're at home, you'd probably rather be in your bed or on your couch or whatever instead of working out. And so you have to set a time aside to do that and don't change it. And so for me, I get to work by 7 every morning. And so I want to be working out by 5. And so I make sure that I'm out of bed by 4:30 or 4:45. And that time, it sucks. It's so early, but I have to stick to that time because I feel like if I don't work out then I won't have time during the day. And so I think being consistent with the time you work out, to me at least, has been the best way for me to stay consistent with my workouts, is stick to a time and don't change it.
That's phenomenal advice. And you're waking up at 4:30, 4:45 every morning to train in your basement alone. I think you might be way better at killing comfort than you realize. That is a significant feat. And I could completely agree with that. I think the biggest drawback of having your gym at your home is you sometimes feel like your training time can be fluid. Like, I can just push it. And I do this a lot. But I always try to get the training in, but it's easy if you keep pushing things around to be like, especially with family. Cause if you push it too much and then you can't tell young kids, I got to go train, you have to, you have to be there. So it is very difficult. So I think having that consistent time and treating it like it's a meeting with someone else. Cause if you had a call with someone else or you're meeting with someone else, we never will back out on those things, right? Cause we're accountable to that other person. And I really like to stress that to people, treat it like you're meeting someone else. And that you wouldn't just randomly back out of a meeting with another human being. It's the same thing when you're going to step to train. But you staying consistent that early in the morning, that's just phenomenal. You've seen amazing progress. And it's really awesome having you part of the community. So I appreciate your time. And, thanks for doing the podcast with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.